I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Political Spotlight. This is episode 245. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Producer Kate, as always, is down at the controls in the duck, making sure that everything is running smoothly, and we want to thank her for everything that she's doing. And I want to thank all of you for being here and giving us a little bit of your time. We know that your time is valuable, and we are appreciative that you choose to spend a little bit of it with us each evening. We are so gracious and thankful. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And we've got a lot of information to get through this evening, and we want to get through it in a timely fashion. We want to try to do that, hopefully not in a 3-hour episode. The last couple episodes have been long, and we're going to try to get this one in a more timely manner. I want to apologize for the last couple episodes, but hey, what can you do when there's so much going on? Hey, before we get into the show, I do want to ask you guys, the only thing that we ask you guys here, it's very simple. It's a very simple process. If you're watching via YouTube, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Subscribing costs you absolutely nothing, but it will allow you to click the bell and set up notifications so you can be notified when we go live, when we drop shorts, when we drop static content, or when we write in the community section of YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on TikTok, or X or wherever else you're watching from, welcome. Thank you. We love you. We like that you're here. We would ask maybe in the future that you consider jumping over to YouTube. And the only reason we ask that is because it's a better viewing experience for you, because you get to interact with more viewers. That's the only reason. Other than that, you're fine where you are, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you. And above all else, please, we understand that this is a live show. We are running this live. Obviously, we are broadcasting this live on Sunday, the 21st. Yeah, the 21st of July, 2024. So if you're watching this and listening to this live, welcome. Please comment with us. This is a very interactive show. You can communicate with us over there. If you're watching this later on YouTube or one of the other platforms, and you're viewing this later on at your convenience, and you're watching this in the future at your time, and it's not the 21st of July, then comment down at the comment box below. And if you are joining us via the audio platform, that means you're listening to it definitely at a later date. Well, we appreciate that, and we welcome you. And we ask that maybe one day you check us out on YouTube as well. You will enjoy the video, I promise. Well, maybe you won't, because it means you'll have to look at my face, but it is what it is. I want to thank you for you connecting with us, however, and share the show with everyone you know. That's probably one of the best ways that you can help us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, the breaking news to get to. I mean, this is the breaking news. We are going to stick with the plan. Last Friday, to not yesterday, but the day before, we did do a special broadcast on Friday evening, because we had a special broadcast Thursday night, which was normally our last night of the week. But because of that special broadcast Thursday night, which preempted our scheduled program, we then did a special broadcast on Friday evening where we covered episode 244, Dream with Dan, part 1. We covered one part of what I wanted to cover. Tonight is episode 245. It is Dream with Dan part 2. And that will cover the actual community event called Dream with Dan. Part 1 covered the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. And so we will talk about that, and then we will connect both of those events. But ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news that we cover. This is obviously very important breaking news, as you could hear with the little bit of news sound there for a moment. We obviously, you've all heard by now that Biden is stepping aside. He's walking away from the 2024 campaign. I want to start out by saying, as of this point, he is not stepping down from the presidency. I've heard a lot of other people covering this, and no one has made sure to throw that in. A lot of the shows I've listened to have just said he's stepping away, he's walking away. It's crazy. Nothing like we thought, blah, blah, blah. But the very first thing that they needed to say was he is not leaving the presidency, at least at this point. At least at this point, he is still president, and he is stating that he is going to continue being president, that he is simply walking away from the 2024 campaign. Now, he released that statement via the Twitter site X earlier today. And I want to read that statement to you all. This was on a statement that was pushed out on Twitter. On X, says, "My fellow Americans," it's dated July 21st, 2024. "Over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to a million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcome a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all of those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all of this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. And then it was signed Joe Biden. Now, what was absolutely noticeably absent from that letter in the initial statement was a notice stating that he was endorsing Kamala Harris. There was nothing there endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, he did, after he pushed this out, come back and said that, yes, he was throwing his endorsement behind Harris. And we know that already the FEC filings have been changed. Since they first started running, since Biden took the nomination the first time, and since Harris was picked, their FEC filings have been under the Biden/Harris campaign. The FEC filings have been switched today, and the FEC filings are now titled Harris for President. She has been, over the last week and a half, she has been vetting possible running mates. We do have the Democratic National Convention that is coming up on the 19th. It starts the 19th of August, and it runs through the 22nd of August. So it runs a Monday through Thursday, similar to how the Republican National Convention ran. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. There are many that are calling for, and as far as I'm concerned at this point, it will be an open convention. That, from everything that I've heard, that's what it'll be. Kate, have you heard anything different from what you're hearing? Okay. So from everything that I've heard so far, that we've heard so far, it's going to be an open convention, which means Kamala is not necessarily it's not just a foregone conclusion that it's being passed to Kamala. Basically, someone could be nominated from the floor, and we could have a showdown. There could be as many as 3 or 4, maybe 5 people that are interested. There are a couple of people that have been thrown out. Gavin Newsom, Whitmer from Michigan. A lot of people keep bringing up Michelle Obama. I honestly don't think that there's anything in the world that would bring Michelle Obama into this. I don't know why she would want to give up the life that they have, the options and obligations that the Obamas currently are involved with, the financial situations that they've got going right now. It's just all too great. Now, a lot of people, have said, listen, if she was given the opportunity, they would do it in a heartbeat. And it's kind of one of those things. You say, no, I'm not interested. But the moment someone taps you and says, I want you to be my vice president, nobody's going to turn that down. Or the moment that they tap you and they say, Mrs. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, you're needed to save the world. We need you to be the president. Most people, their ego is going to say, okay, I'll do it. I don't believe that she's... I don't believe that's what her intentions are currently, but I think that if we got into a situation where we were having issue after issue and at the convention and they were not being able to come up with a winner, I could see her coming down from the clouds and coming down from on high and saying, all right, I'll do it. What's your thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say, I just found an article because I'm sitting here, trying to keep up with all the news on this, even as we're live. Article just published, quote, it had only been a few hours since some of the most powerful Democrats were pushing for a free-for-all open process should Biden drop out. Ahead of Biden's announcement, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi told colleagues she would be in favor of such a competitive scramble rather than an anointing, the New York Times reported. A Friday call between Harris and party donors also left some fuming when she did not address concerns about Biden. Even former President Barack Obama demurred on Harris, writing in a statement, I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges.
Well, that you heard it there first.
So you have Pelosi and Obama both pushing for a completely open convention.
Yeah, I don't think that Harris is the big pick from the party. Honestly, listen, I'm not a Biden fan. I'm not a liberal. And I know that there are people out there that are going to recoil from me saying this. For as crazy as things have been and for all of the stuff that have been said, there was a point in time that Biden was respected within the party heavily, even respected by some on the Republican side. And he was just kind of a go-getter. Now, he's always kind of, from my perspective, had trouble with the truth. And he's always had kind of a floating timeline, floating backstory. He's kind of like Batman. Sometimes, his life was here. Sometimes it's here. His origin story changes to kind of fit the need. It's kind of one of those things. But I think that kind of has fallen away. I don't think, obviously, that Kamala shares that. Of course, just speaking quite frankly, I think Kamala is a goofball. I think that she is not seen as a serious person. I think that she, for all of the, and now listen, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. Bear with me. I am a mama's boy. I have a very strong, on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side, have strong maternal figures, grandmothers in my life, and whatnot. I'm a woman's man. I'm out there for the rights of the woman. That being said, I'm not a feminist. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that. That being said, I think Kamala is seen as not a serious person, as a goofball. And it just, it can be seen. And listen, anybody can put together a gaff reel, and anyone can have moments, and everybody has those things, but just looking here, this is a minute and 43 seconds. This is from YouTube. This is just some of her greatest hits over the last couple of years.
Break it down in layman's terms for people who don't understand what's going on and how can this directly affect the people of the United States.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P. The plan.
Do you plan to visit the border?
Not today. But I have before, and I'm sure I will again. I've said I'm going to go to the border. And when are you going to the border, Vice President? The administration has asked. I'm not finished. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I'm being clear with you right now.
Yes. Okay.
And so if you're interested, I'll continue to be clear. There are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. We are doing it.
But should we have done it sooner?
We are doing it.
What do you see as the biggest national security challenge confronting the U.S.? What is the thing that worries you and keeps you up at night?
Frankly, one of them is our democracy.
You don't feel misused or underused?
No, I don't.
When folks vote, they order what they want. And in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, so that was that. So can't wait to see what happens there. And we'll just have to see what goes on. This is going to get very interesting. It's going to be an interesting next month. The what promised to be a rather boring Republican national convention seemed to be a little bit more pepped up because of the unfortunate situation that happened the weekend before with the shooting. And the only thing that then, we had to look forward to after that was the actual kickoff of the hardcore election cycle, because the Democratic nominee, the process, the Democratic convention was absolutely planning on being boring. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the convention is going to be one to watch. It is not going to be boring. It will be most exciting, and it will be something that we watch very, very heavily as that kicks off. Again, the convention kicks off August 19th and runs through the 22nd. We will watch that, and we will comment on that, and we will bring you anything and everything that develops throughout this next couple coming months. And I think there's like 178 days or something like that. So we will continue to watch all of that. All right. So being done with that, I do want to say just briefly, I completely dropped it. Oh, as a note, before we get into the Dream with Dan stuff, now being done with the Biden breaking news, we have a couple of important things coming up this week. This week is an important week politically. tomorrow, Monday, the 22nd at 10 a.m., there is a live public, open to the public, Madison County Election Board meeting where there are a couple of challenges to candidates, and that's going to be interesting. There's also a complaint being heard by a citizen, and so it's going to be interesting. Catherine's going to be there. I'm assuming Rebecca Crooms will be there. God willing, I will be live in the audience, so that will be interesting. Then tomorrow afternoon, Monday, the 22nd at 4 p.m., there is an open public meeting at the Delaware County County Building, the old County Building downtown at 100 West Washington Street. The Recount Commission will come together and hold a meeting where they will decide on the rules and they will decide on a couple of other things. And so they will put a bunch of things together, and that's going to be open to the public, and I will be there for that. Then tomorrow night, when we go live, we will be talking about that recount meeting and letting you know what went on with that. We will also recount what happened with the Madison County meeting. We will have Catherine Callahan on for that. Dr. Catherine Callahan will be joining us, so we will have her on. And then we will be preparing for Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 23rd, which will be a big day. Tuesday the 23rd at 9 a.m., a Delaware County Council meeting will be held. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, having seen and heard about the agenda for Tuesday, the Delaware County Council, the president of the council, is completely off her nut. I have no idea what these people are doing. I don't believe they know what they're doing. I really question their understanding of what their role is. And it's going to be interesting to see what occurs at this meeting. It's going to be interesting. At the same time as the Delaware County Council meeting, actually a half an hour before, at 8:30, the recount for the at-large council race will begin, also in the Delaware County Council, in the Delaware County County Building, the old county building downtown, 100 West Washington Street. It should be in the basement. It might be moved. If you show up for it, just ask the people at the door. They'll be able to tell you, but it should be in the basement. I will be there for that. The meeting, we will live stream live for you all to watch here. The recount, I am going to static record. And then Tuesday night, when we're here on the show live, we will cover the meeting and we will cover the recount. And so we'll keep you posted on all of that. But we've got a lot going on this week. And then, of course, Wednesday, we've got the Board of Works meeting, and we've got a Henry County Commissioners meeting. Then on Thursday, we've got a Henry County Council meeting. So we've got busy week ahead of us and a lot of things going on. And of course, we're going to continue to be watching the city of Muncie and watching what's going on there, and dealing with everything that's happening in Muncie, dealing with everything that is not happening in Muncie, because of course that's very important too. What's happening and what's not happening are both one and the same, very important. And so that's that. All right. Well, now that we've told you about Madison County's meeting tomorrow, and now we've told you the fact that Catherine will be on tomorrow evening, and the plans of the recount commission meeting as well, and the recount actually taking place on Tuesday, and the county council meeting on Tuesday, and everything else going on this week, we are now, ladies and gentlemen, going to now get into part 2 of this ordeal with Mayor Ridenour. When we were talking about this last Friday, this was on Friday, basically, I've been telling you over the course of the last, really since before going to Angola, I've been telling you that something has been going on. I don't exactly know what. I don't know why, but the administration has pulled away from the public. It's not just me. They've pulled away from the public too. And then, of course, we all wake up on Wednesday, July 10th, and they've changed the communication process. And there are a lot of questions about what's going on with the MRC, what's not going on with the MRC, what's going on with the Board of Works. You guys are having 2-minute meetings where you're approving millions of dollars. There's no questions. And there's a lot of questions about what's going on with the city and the negotiations with AFSCME. They broke down there, and there's just been a lot happening. And it seems as though Dan has pulled back from communication whatsoever. Well, there was something that happened last Monday. And we briefly covered this just a little bit on Thursday, but there was a Muncie City post that went up on the city's newest communications page, and I want to get this pulled up here. There were a lot of comments to the post. And it took a lot of interest. There were a lot of people concerned about this. And it drew a lot of interest. And we don't know who, but someone from the city of Muncie was commenting back to citizens. They were commenting. Here's the problem we're left with now. So the city of Muncie has a Facebook page called The City of Muncie. It was created in like 2011 or 2012 by my friend Sarah Beach. She was the personnel director under the Tyler administration. And they created the Facebook page, and they utilized Facebook the way that we know it to have been utilized. This Ridenour administration changed that on Wednesday, July 10th, just a couple weeks ago. They took the ability for citizens, all 20-some thousand, plus anybody else that commented that did not follow or like the page, because that was an opportunity to do that as well. So 20,000 plus people, they stopped all of them from being able to communicate with the officials on the page. They then created this page that you're seeing on the screen in front of you. For those that are listening, we're looking at the City of Muncie communications page. And they said, well, everything's exactly the same. Anything that you want to say to the city, you just come here to say it. Well, first and foremost, you have to understand that as of right now, there are only 725 people liking this page with 790 followers. Those numbers basically have not changed in a couple days. So it's not like they're just quickly increasing. It's kind of stalled out at those numbers. So we are a long way away. It's not like all 20,000 some people just, headed over here and everything is good. No, that's not the case. Basically, what you've got is the diehards have, but the everyday Joes, the citizens that probably need this more than anybody, they're not here. They don't know what's happening. So for your everyday regular citizen, the ability to communicate with their elected and appointed officials have just basically essentially ended on the 10th of July. The other thing that's confusing, the problem with the city of Muncie was kind of an ironic one. We've got too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And I know that that's not a politically appropriate phrase anymore, but given that we are a city based on Native American yada yada yada, I figured I would throw that out there. The problem being is we have elected people that, in my opinion, those are the ones that we want to be hearing from. They are the ones that we have the authority over. They are the ones that we can dictate, yes, you're going to do this, you're not going to do this. If you do something we don't like, we're going to unelect you. If you do something we like, we're going to keep you around, yada, yada, yada. They're the ones that I care to hear from. I don't want to hear from some, podunk person that's just appointed by so-and-so who's here because they know so-and-so and, they're getting paid, and I can like them, not like them. It doesn't have anything to do with them keeping their job. I have no way to get rid of or give attaboys to this person because they're paid and they're there and they were hired by someone else. All right. What matters to me is what the elected people are thinking. Now, the city of Muncie has a communications director. For the most part, I like her. I think she does the best job she can do. I think it's hard when you work for someone who is basically at this point, look, I can back up what I'm saying. So I have no problems with calling Ridenour at this time is a known liar. He has purposefully not told the truth. He has lied by omission. He has lied by direct lie. At this point, he fits the mold of a politician pretty straight on. All right. He's not had any problem in stretching the truth. Basically, the last 4.5 years have been nothing but one big truth-stretching adventure. So Michelle is in a tough spot. She's between a rock and a hard place. So I know that she communicates. She used to communicate on the City of Muncie's page as the City of Muncie. And at the same time, Shireen Wegley, the mayor's gatekeeper, she, of course, thinks she's the mayor of Muncie, but she's the mayor's gatekeeper, basically a glorified phone answerer. And she would also comment on the City of Muncie's page as the City of Muncie. So you would have two people communicating, two citizens under the same name, definitely wildly different tones. You could pick that out with no issue. Well, now we've got a situation where, and this is what's crazy. Now, instead of that, now we've got the City of Muncie, the City of Muncie Communications, and on both pages respond, and you still don't know who you're talking to. So on the City of Muncie's original page, both COM and COMC both type. Are they both Michelle? Is one Michelle and one Shireen and one also possibly still Michelle? You've got both of those who now communicate on the COMC. And again, are they both Michelle? Is one Shireen, one Michelle? Are they both Shireen? Are they other people? You know, I mean, that's what's crazy about this. And I've been attempting to get clarification, and they will not explain who's who. What's the reasoning for that? Why would they not tell us? Why? That's really interesting why that would happen. Okay. So on this post that was posted back the other day, it was posted on the park thing, this out at Store States. Basically what happened was a citizen, and I'll call this citizen someone who is probably mid-level involvement. Like, this person stays in the know with what's going on. Doesn't go to every council meeting, isn't watching this show, all the time, or maybe ever, is sometimes hit and miss on comments, but he stays in the loop. He says, have any lots in the neighborhood been sold yet? And he made that post at 1:08 p.m. on Monday, July 15th. Well, just about 9 minutes later, someone writing under the City of Muncie responds to him and says, all of them, yes. Okay. Now, when they said that on July 15th, I knew right then that was a lie. I knew that it was not true. Beacon shows it's not true. The sources that I've talked to has said it is not true. I knew that it was not true. But a lot of people responded in this time before I could get back to it. Troy Tackett, one of the Dan addicts, says, boom, awesome. It just blows me away. I said, what public servant is currently commenting here? Another citizen, Daryl Holt, said the developer needs to keep it mowed. I'm sure the neighbors don't like the way it looks. Jeff Robinson, former city councilor, says, tags us all, says Beacon still shows the property being owned by Muncie, which of course, I knew that. He goes on and talks more. I'm tagged by a couple of people in here. We're going back and forth. I asked Troy Tackett what boom awesome means, and there's just a bunch of back and forth in this. Well, then, as you all know from watching Thursday's show, Okay. As you guys all know, it was not true. On Thursday, July 18th, so 3 days after this was posted, our friend here watching, I think here, Shirley Jameson stands up at the MRC meeting and says, "Yo, what's the deal?" Basically, not like that. That's my language, but you know, she said that in her own terms. And I'm going to show you. All right, I'm going to show you this so you can see, okay? I made it into a short so I can show them.
DR understand so my understanding from being here previously was DR Horton was to have closed on the Store Estates property. Am I to understand that has not happened?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so at the present time,
get that? Jeff Howell, the MRC director, he didn't know when it was going to be happening, but the mayor of Muncie, Mayor Wegley, she knew that the final walkthrough before closing was going to happen on Friday the 19th.
Did they have a list of shit that the city had to have done prior to them being willing to buy it? It seemed very strange.
They're not doing.
It does bring up another interesting question I have. So someone had asked how many of the lots were sold. And someone from the city of Muncie was very proud to get on there and say, all of them. But at that point in time, they weren't closed on. Someone from the city of Muncie lied. They lied. If it's not closed, they're not sold.
Yeah.
So my understanding from being here previously was DR Horton was to have closed on the Store Estates property. Am I to understand that has not happened?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so at the present time,
tomorrow. Okay, so you heard it there. Period. There's no other way. I mean, dude, Shireen was pretty adamant about that. So after Friday night show, after I make that short, I come back in the comments now, 4 or 5 days later, and I tag everybody and I said, all right, looks like we've got everybody together. Now that we have the band back together, I thought it would be very important, since you know truth and all, to come back here with proof needed to show that whoever the unknown City of Muncie official was that was responding in these comments back on Monday, July 15th, was flat out lying. Let's examine this. Monday, July 15th, 2024 at 1:13 p.m. Ryan New typed, "I have a question." On this thread, the question simply read, "Have any of the lots in the neighborhood been sold yet?" That is a perfectly good question. The mayor and his Danatics have been telling us all since last summer that DR Horton bought all 34 lots, but nothing has happened in over a year. That said, even though everyone has known that Beacon still shows Store Estates is owned by the Muncie Redevelopment Commission, even though we all know that, whoever was commenting as the City of Muncie, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure it was Mayor Shireen Wegley. Whoops, I meant phone answer Shireen Wegley. Anyway, for whatever reason, she or some other gold star sticker winner commented back to Ryan New and said, "Ryan New, all of them, yes." To which, for some unknown reason, Tackett felt the need to respond with, "Boom, awesome," which I thought maybe was code for someone, help, I fell off the toilet again. Anyway, now that we're all aware of what lies Shireen was wanting us to buy, I want you all to take 56 seconds of your day to click on the following link. That link would take you to the short that we just listened to. It takes you to a video that is 56 seconds long, but it's from Thursday, July 18th, 2024, which is after Monday, July 15th, 2024. And I want you to listen to the citizen that asks this very question of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. When the answer is given, it is given by none other than Shireen herself, which is strange because she clearly says that D.R. Horton would be closing on the store estates tomorrow, which would have been Friday, July 19th. So I would like to say, in answer to Ryan's question, back on Monday, July 15th, no lots have been sold. And to be honest, I think her saying tomorrow in the meeting is all too convenient. And honestly, there's no way I can believe it now until I see it, that the deal is done. Even if they walked through it on Friday, it doesn't mean it's sold Friday. As we stand here today, I believe the city of Muncie still owns it. Beacon still says they do. I think it's the way that it is. I think it is what it is. All right? To put all of this to say, first, why lie? Don't lie, just tell the truth. And second, and most important, I will end with, boom, awesome. Pretty clear cut. I don't know how else you could read that. Obviously, I made the evidence and pointed all out and put the evidence there. Troy Tackett responds, and this blows me away, man. Like, this guy, he needs somebody to help him function, I think. Troy says, so where is your proof that they've not been sold to D.R. Horton? Dude, are you getting enough oxygen? I just laid it out. I could have put that up there in Spanish and you could have still understood it. Where is your proof that they've not been sold to D.R. Horton? In the paragraph above what you're typing there, bub. And why would it have been so highly publicized that it was in fact, and if it wasn't? I just don't try to fly half a story. Boom. Now that would be awesome if you had actual proof of the conspiracies you convey. Someone help me here. Someone help me here. That guy's not getting enough oxygen, right? As TT would say, laughy emoji. That filled me with so much anger when I just saw that. Charlize, they have literally triggered me with that damn laugh emoji. I hate that I am a person that gets triggered, but they have found a way to trigger me. I need a safe space. I need a safe space from that damn laugh emoji. It's sick. It's sick. Stumblefoot. That's hilarious. So that's what happened. A couple of other people talked. Ryan News said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, which I loved. I said, did you not hear what Shireen said? A couple of other people communicated. I wrote back to Troy, said it's not true. It wasn't true on the 15th. It wasn't true on the 18th. And we're still, as of the 21st at this point, don't know if it's true. The city of Muncie's MRC still and has been the owners of all 34 lots at the store estates. You can want it to be different all you want, but you can't claim that the city does not own them. That's just the way that it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want... make an appointment at the crisis center. I want you all to keep that story in your mind because we're going to go away from it. I'm going to come back to it at the end of the program. You're going to want to stick around because I'm going to kind of bookend it in a nice way, and I'm going to show how Dan is really hurting himself. But we're going to move away from this now. And there's a reason. We are now going to head into the Dream with Dan. Because if you remember, this was handled at the MRC. They talked about this at the MRC, and that happened on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. And then Thursday afternoon at like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., the Dream with Dan occurred at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. This is an event that they used to hold once a month. Dan makes some kind of bullshit reason for why they don't hold it once a month. They hold it every quarter, but they must have just made that up on the fly because the last one that they held was in December, and there have been that threw me off. I was reading the comments there for the third night. Yeah, I've seen that. We'll talk about that. That's not the cities. That's the counties. I'll bring that up in a minute. I'll bring that up. But so all of that happened at the MRC, and then the Dream with Dan occurred, and then I'll let you hear that, and then we'll circle back around. So that'll happen. But the sign that went up from the new Justice Center out on Tillotson, that's the Delaware County rehab that they're going to build out there, connected or not connected to the jail that everybody's been pushing since before they built that there. And the city and the county are not partnering together because they don't realize that they are in the same area. The city of Muncie and Muncie and Delaware County are like East Coast, West Coast rappers in the 90s. They might as well be on two separate ends of the globe, the North Pole and the South Pole. They've got nothing to do with each other. So it's a funky, But okay. We're going to go to the Dream with Dan. Dan says, well, we did one back in December. Well, he doesn't say that. We just know the last one they did was in December, and they haven't done one since. And he's like, well, we do them quarterly now. We do them quarterly now, and that way more citizens can show up and attend. And I'm like, what? Wait, you're the boss. Do them monthly and tell the people they have to show up. Like, I don't get it. It's not that hard. Do them monthly and tell them, hey, this is part of your job. You got to show up. All right. So this is 47 minutes. We'll speed through this. Here's the Dream with Dan.
Good afternoon. We are live at the fairgrounds. Welcome to our July Dream with Dan. We have the mayor and several department heads here who are going to be giving an update about what's going on in their department, but we will begin with the mayor's update.
So thank you, Michelle, and appreciate everybody participating. We hope you'll ask some questions online, and we'll do our best to get to them. But we do have a lot of different department heads here today for this Dream with Dan. We've moved them to quarterly, and by doing so, we're able to have more different department heads, and we feel like it'll be more productive that way. I'm just going to talk briefly about a couple things that are going on. Right next to City Hall is what I affectionately call a point piece, and it's where the old High Street Square was. We we have already done the demo work on that, and soon there'll be some other work done on that particular piece. It'll be a gateway into downtown. So as people drive across Wheeling, they'll see that. So I just want to let people know that's going on. A couple other things that I think are important is the City View properties. I understand that that 32 of the 33 single family homes are now leased. And some of the townhomes that have not all been released for occupancy yet, some of those are already leased don't have the move-in dates. But those are very important because we were able to take properties that the Muncie Redevelopment Commission had. And most of these were properties that were dilapidated when we obtained them. Some of those in previous administrations, some going back decades. But we tore down the properties that were not usable, and we were able to package those properties to create what on City View was 61 additional property options, apartment and house options for our.
Dude, look at Gretchen stare soullessly into the camera. Like, I've had to turn away a couple times because I'm afraid she's trying to steal my soul with her eyes. That is a very scary looking woman.
I'm sorry, I had to take down our banner because we all need to be able to take in the city's banner that they put up.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I love it. Yeah, that's fine.
You did notice the city's banner.
No! No! Does it say that?
Yes.
Muncie. I'm on the right page. No, that is amazing.
They're all supposed to be up there doing this.
Yeah, right.
Well, I need to get one of the kids down here to do it.
Oh my God. GW's been saying it, but like, look, everybody always says dumb shit about it. I always call it Nightmare with Dan, or Donuts with Dan, or Drinking with Dan. Everyone's always made stupid jokes about it. People in the past have called it Dab with Dan.
Yeah. I guess they
whatever.
So GW's saying they reposted it the next day with the proper spelling.
Dream with Dab.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with Gretchen. Yeah, that's interesting. I did notice that. We will go back. We will go back and see that. Hold on. Dan says, ask questions online so we can get to them. What? Can't post on City of Muncie's page. I know. Well, what we've learned, Jackie, is while the Dream with Dan is going on, or some any other business, is you have to come out of the live feed. You've got to go to another page. You got to type the question on another link, another thing. Then you got to get out and see if maybe they answered it. Maybe so. It doesn't make very much sense. It's very it's not very conducive to being able to ask questions in a way that you know if they're going to get answered or not. It's just very stupid. So. Oh, man, these people. Dream with Dab. All right, we're going to continue on with the Dream with Dab.
Residents and already leased don't have the move-in dates, but some other work done on that particular piece. It'll be a gateway into downtown. So as people drive across Wheeling, they'll see that. So I just want to let people know that's going on. A couple other things that I think are important is the City View properties. I understand that that 32 of the 33 single-family homes are now leased, and some of the townhomes
she's writing
that have
it down.
not all been released for occupancy yet. Some of those are already leased don't have the move-in dates, but those are very important because we were able to take properties that the Muncie Redevelopment Commission had. And most of these were properties that were dilapidated when we obtained them. Some of those in previous administrations, some going back decades. But we tore down the properties that were not usable, and we were able to package those properties to create what on City View was 61 additional property options, apartment and house options for our residents. And they're all affordable. And what that means is that your rent is based upon how much you make. So if you make $400 a week, your rent's at this level. I know you can't necessarily see me. Maybe you can. At this level, and then if your income is $500 a week, your rent's at a higher level and $600 a week and so forth. So it helps people move into new housing on what were previously unoccupied lots that are now generating taxes. So all of the single family homes are already assessed to the tune of substantial dollars. And those will be general revenue funds for our city, and also will help the schools and the other entities like the sanitary district, the library, Center Township, all those other entities and MITs that use those funds from property taxes. And that was the whole purpose. Now, in addition to that, we have another development started with this, which is Southern Terrace. This is another Indiana-based developer that is doing that. We packaged 20 lots with that particular developer, and they bought some properties on their own. What they're doing with that is in several other neighborhoods across the city. They are starting in the Whiteley area. There are already 4 houses that are framed and up. There are foundations begun in several other locations. In total, it'll be 10 new houses in the Whiteley neighborhood. There will be 2 in the Blaine Southeast neighborhood, 1 in the East Side neighborhood, and 7 in Industry neighborhood. And they're going to work their way from the north part of the city, working their way down. After they finish up building the homes in the Industry neighborhood, then they'll go down to the townhomes, and those are on the South Side neighborhood, diagonal from the entrance to Crestview Golf Course. So, and those will be townhomes. So it'll be 25 total units there in multiple buildings. But we're excited about that because, again, it provides the opportunity to get properties onto the tax rolls, which is important for our general fund, which is how we pay for the services and the employees that give those services. But it also helps
people that we
schools.
Screw over.
And we've not put any of these developments inside TIF districts. We've purposely not put developments inside the TIF districts that were not in them. Because we want to build those general funds and help our school system. So those are a couple of things going on. We've got a number of things that will be dependent on Ready 2.0 funds. Just so you know, the application process on that is nearing completion. The East Central Indiana region did receive $35 million, but none of the communities know yet what developments are going to be funded with the Ready 2.0 dollars. That is something that will be coming sometime next month. When that happens, we'll be able to announce some other things, but there are a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make sure that all the stacking of the development dollars are in place, and that we provide things that are positive for the city.
Yeah.
Some of those are multi-use. Some of those are meaning it could have retail and housing. And most of them for Muncie, because we've not had a lot of new housing in our community over the years.
What the hell, man?
Decades, we've focused more on the housing side of things. But once those are announced, we'll go in, and depending on how much we get here in the city of Muncie, we'll determine which part of our Muncie bundle will be included, and we're excited about those opportunities. I think I will stop since we have so many people today. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to talk a little bit about what their particular department is doing. So I'm just going to pass the mic to Gretchen from Community Development.
Woo!
Hi, Gretchen Cheeseman, Community Development Department.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Our department administers 2 federal grants, the CDBG Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnership Grant. Our program year starts on June 1st, and our annual action plan for this year has been approved. You can go in and look at it on our community development page at City of Muncie website if you're interested in taking a look at it. Just generally, our funds are divided up into 5 different areas for the community development block grant. Administration, because I always say money doesn't spend itself. Public service, clearance, which is demolition of unsafe buildings. We have a homeowner rehab program that assists families that are homeowners with roof replacement, handicap ramps, some other accessibility projects like tub to shower conversions. And we work with 3 subrecipients on that. Home Savers, Habitat for Humanity, and Eco Rehab help us on those projects. The homeowner rehab program this year is funded at $296,000. We do infrastructure projects, which would be
guys are freaks.
parks, paving, and sidewalks. That line item is funded at about $276,000. We've got multiple accessibility improvement projects scheduled for that. Working with the city engineering department, we're going to do some accessibility improvements and light changes and adding pedestrian signalization at the intersection of Walnut and Memorial 12th Street. And that whole project kind of came about after the South Central Neighborhood Association asked us to go on a wheelchair tour of the neighborhood, which we did on a really, really cold day. And it gave us a really good idea of what kind of challenges they're facing with their infrastructure there. And one of them was that intersection at Walnut and Memorial, which definitely needs some accessibility improvements and the pedestrian signalization, because kids cross there to go to school at Southview from the neighborhood. So we do listen to neighbors. We also fund 5 public services. Our public service grants are limited to working with agencies that serve the homeless. So we have A Better Way, Christian Ministries, Muncie Mission, the YWCA, and the Recovery Cafe. And our total grant amount is this year about $1.277 million. It's a $10,000 cut from last year. Our home grant, which funds home ownership and rental projects, also working with some of the same subrecipients in our housing rehab program, which is Eco Rehab, Habitat, and Pastone. And our grant is $510,000 this year. That's a $100,000 cut from last year. So we're going to try our best to do the same with less money. And yeah, that's a federal government cut. So our grant is 100% funded by U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and it's not local money. So it just comes from Washington. Thank you.
Man, Nate Sloan really
Thanks,
seemed
Hi,
concerned
I'm Chief
about
Sloan
that.
with Muncie Police. I appreciate everybody being here today and tuning in. I'm just going to give you a real brief overview of the police department, where we're at, how things are going. So staffing, currently we're at 97 officers right now out of the 108 that we have contractually. So we've got a few others in the process, but that's always a work in progress. Last year, our calls for 2023 were 49,398. So far this year, from January to June, we're at 25,131. So we're tracking pretty close to where we should be. Use of force report. So far this year through June, we've had 126 reportable responses to resistance. So that includes pointing tasers at people, or having to put our hands on them, or whatever it might be. So if you look at that figure, that's roughly 0.5% of the calls that we go on. So it's really low. I'm really proud of our people for doing the training they're doing and getting to the point where we are. The social worker program is going really well for us right now. We've got 2 social workers, Sally Archer-Jones and Kayla Trumbo. We started this in 2024 in May. Began tracking on May 20th about what they're doing, what they're responding to. So far, just since May, they've been to 205 separate and distinct calls and incidents. So that's a pretty good rate, given that there's only 2 people and, you know, they're just getting their feet wet and we're rolling this program out. So they're responding to all kinds of calls, including self-harm, mental health issues, homelessness issues.
Oh, are they using that crisis center?
Resource identification and acquisition. But I'll give you a breakdown real quick of where they're at. So the way this works is, out of the 205 calls, 53 of those have been self-harm. Okay, so somebody has been detained at the hospital, or we take them to the hospital or whatever, and they have an intervention there. 53 of those calls have been self-harm. Mental health is 29, overdoses is 30, homelessness is 40, juvenile problems are 11, domestics at 13, death investigations at 18, and we've got a catch-all other category of 11. So we're really happy, really pleased with where this program is going. Also, community engagement. So we created these positions not long ago to increase communication with the public, and we see it really paying off. These officers have an unbelievably complex schedule. They're getting invited to everything throughout the city. I mean, they are going to all kinds of stuff, from neighborhood celebrations to, you know, neighborhood meetings, school events, city events, parks programs, community programs, church events. If they can't get, and this is what they wanted me to tell everybody, if they can't get to your event, it's not because they don't want to come, it's not because they don't like you or anything like that. They are getting asked and pulled in every which direction from the city. So please let them know when you have an event, whether you're starting something, continuing something, neighborhood event, whatever's going on, let us know. We will try and get somebody there if we can, but we can't make everything. Really happy about that. Training, we just got through our state mandates, you know, the whole department.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm gonna stop this for a second. Is anybody else bored to tears? Is anybody else bored? Like, just bored out of your gourd? Like, no one cares about any of this crap? Listen, I'm a former law enforcement officer, and I don't care about anything he's talking about. You could say literally everything else that he said. Dan could have said that in 2 sentences. The social worker program is going good. We're up on our calls. We're running with last year. Our officers aren't beating people to death. Things are going good. You know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about some of the serious murders that we've had? What are we going to do? You know, there was just a shooting every couple days. There's a shooting where someone shot out in their driveway in the morning. That crap happens all the time. What are we doing about, like, talk about that? Gretchen was boring. All right, I'm gonna just flip through this a little bit because I want to get through this about everybody else that talks. The point is this. This is not an exercise in communicating with the public. This is not an exercise in the elected official talking to his employers. This is a way to break up 50 minutes, you know, in a couple different things. Boom, bang, pow. So Dan doesn't have to answer a bunch of questions. All right. And I'm going to come back to that. So, all right, let's speed this along a little bit.
The best fleets that I can think of right now, but
our cars are going great. Our wonderful cars,
and that always presents some problems as far as the city having to absorb that cost. But new acquisition of vehicles, you know, they can be slow sometimes, just given the supply chain of vehicles that come in. So we do have a vehicle that's
and really quickly, because this always happens. I could literally say Nate Sloan blew his nose last night, and this thing that I'm getting ready to tell you would happen. Like it happens. It doesn't matter. I could say Nate Sloan helped an elderly woman change a tire in a snowstorm, and I thought he did a wonderful job. I could say that It doesn't matter what I say. It does not matter what I say. I could say he's the bestest guy in the world. I could say he's a dog. If I mention Nate Sloan's name at all on my show the next day, so like tomorrow, this will happen. Kelly Rent Sloan, his wife, goes to my Facebook. She sends me a friend request, and then she immediately withdraws the friend request. Literally, last time she did it, I sent her a message and said, hey, my stuff's open, wide open. You can see it whether we're friends or not. And you don't have to continue sending me a friend request. I'm not hiding anything from you. Everything that I say about your husband is open for you to see. I've got nothing to hide. If you want to ask me any questions, I said, now, there is a very slight possibility that you're just thumbing through and you hit the friend request by accident, and then you're like, oh shit, and you undo it. I've done that to people before. The only reason I don't think that's it is because it's happened more than 10 times since they took office. So I'm like, there's what she's doing. Julie says, what's up with her doing that? Basically what she's doing is she's looking to see if there's anything on my wall or anything that I'm saying about her husband that I have hid unless you're friends. So when you send someone a friend request, it lets you see more. So that's just all that she's doing. I'm like, no, I'm an open book. I've got nothing to hide. I'm not hiding anything about your husband. So hi, Kelly. I don't have any problem with you. I don't really have a problem with your husband. I don't think he's the bright police chief. I've been very vocal about that. He's just a ho-hum person, and it is what it is. He is like the good old boy, kind of like he's like a good, like, I'm the last Boy Scout. He's got his flaws. It is what it is. He's doing all right. I would like someone doing better, but it is what it is. So it's Dan Ridenour. He promised us the best, and to me, Dan's best is mediocre. So it is what it is. Well, yeah, because she doesn't actually want to be my friend. She just wants to see if I'm saying anything more than what she's heard. And so that's why she sends it and then withdraws it. So I'm not mad at her. I'm just saying you don't have to do that. It's open. Plus I'm saying this on YouTube, so you can forego Facebook and go straight to YouTube and listen to all of this. It is what it is. All right, back to this riveting speech.
We branched out into different brands. We're mainly Ford, but we also own Chevy, Dodge.
Oh God, he's got cars,
some electronic vehicles.
EV vehicles.
That so far,
lots of money. We've got hookups at private people's homes.
A lot of equipment.
Lots of equipment.
Officers, including some ballistic measures. I won't go into a lot on that, but hand tools, radios, tasers, shields, lights, that kind of stuff. All make our officers that much more effective. So we're issuing more and better equipment than we ever have before.
Good.
As far as detectives is concerned, Deputy Chief Criswell runs that department, and we have detectives working everything from theft to homicide. And there are currently 10 mainstream detectives with 2 supervisors and then 3 evidence techs, and they typically work 80 to 100 cases a year. Now, obviously, there's a lot of cases that can't be worked. Everything's got to be triaged, but the cases that are the most important obviously get the most attention. And even if we were to work every case, there's no way the prosecutor's office could file all of them. So they're doing a good job up there, and we certainly appreciate that. Uniform. He's kind of seeing the same kinds of trends that our social workers are seeing. This is the backbone of the department. Everybody knows what they do, right? You see them running around in police cars all the time, answering calls, deterring crime, detecting crime as they're out doing their patrols. And there's currently 71 people assigned to the uniform division, including supervision. So we are seeing a lot of mental illness issues there, a lot of overdose, and a lot of suicidal type situations. So that's kind of tracking, like I said, with what we've seen with the social workers.
All right, great.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. I'll go ahead. Name's Craig Wright, City Controller. And by the way, you just got me out of your age limit on that, Chief. A little above the limit. I did talk to Deputy Chief Deegan today, and let you know that the electric vehicle is going well, and what he's tracking is exactly up to what he had stated. So we have a very complex department in the controller's office. Just to give you a brief overview of what we do and who we are, I have the most tenured department probably in the whole city. It starts at the beginning from when a vendor wants to do business with the city. They register with our office and we get them set up into the system, and we process all the invoices that come through the city, cut the checks. We review all the weekly claims with the Board of Works, and
bullshit. You don't review anything.
Those get filed on a weekly basis. Point out some of the people. I have Deb Natter, Diana White, Clarice Burke, Tina Salfridge does our payroll, Matt Wagley, and we pretty much make the city run. So if it's financially based, it does go through.
Woo! We pretty much make the city run. Listen to that.
Now, along with that, there's usually about 3 huge parts of the year to our department. Beginning of the year, we are doing the annual financial report, which is usually a beast, and but that does run through our office. And then we also slide right on into this time of year where usually we have the State Board of Accounts that are coming in doing the annual audit, which they are here right now. And we also have our annual budgeting process, which is already started. Matter of fact, we had a quick little meeting with the DLGF today, discussing as to what our revenues are going to be looking like.
He looks like a shark.
He
kind of looks like bald, white men can't jump, Woody Harrelson, kind of.
Finished the halfway through the year on the budgeting process as far as where we're at. We do have a balanced budget, and we are looking to stay.
Muncie Crisis Center.
Whoa, what happened there? Whoa, what happened there? What happened?
And we also have our annual budgeting process, which is already started. Matter of fact, we had a quick little meeting with the DLGF today, discussing as to what our revenues are going to be looking like and the budget's going into 2025. We just finished the halfway through the year on the budgeting process as far as where we're at. We do have a balanced budget, and we are looking to stay.
Muncie Crisis Center.
What's that? Does anybody know what happened there? It jumped from Craig telling us something crazy. I sped up the speech to get through this quicker because it's boring as hell. I mean, I know that Adam was thinking about the shower and thinking about cooking eggs and everything, and wanted to get that mic in front of him talking quickly so he could get back to his shower thoughts and taking pictures and stuff. But what happened there? What happened? Yeah, I want to know what they cut out of there. Well, that was weird. I'm gonna have to be investigating that.
West Side Skate Park, those types of things kind of fall within my general realm of responsibility as well as public works. We get around, both good and bad.
They get around.
Some of the things we kind of got coming in 2024. We got our $1.5 million grant from the state as part of the Community Crossings Matching Grant. That is for a total of $3 million. It's 50-50 grant. That's going to pay Burlington, Meeker, Walnut, Jackson, Granville from various parts. There has to be a start and stop to those roads, so we pick logical limits, but got to start and end somewhere. Our city folks, hopefully someone noticed that we paved one of the northbound lanes there on Wheeling. It needed it. Did a fantastic job on that. Next week we plan to do the southbound lane, basically there from Hand and Fork all the way down to Neely. It's desperately in need of some attention. White River will be the week after. Hopefully everybody will see the signs. That'll be an actual hard closure, closed to through traffic from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Dates will be shown on our message board. After that, we'll go out to Godman, and that'll kind of finish out our year on bigger paving jobs, and the city will still be doing some smaller ones. We're installing a new signal system at Granville and Walnut. It'll actually be what they call an activated system as opposed to a timed. So hopefully, as people are sitting there, they won't be sitting as long as they sit now. Both good and bad there. We do have a new community engagement system, replaces our complaint portal. The primary difference is once you get assigned a number with your complaint or issue, what have you, you can now look it up to see what the disposition of that complaint, work order, whatever. So if you put in a pothole, you'll get a number. It'll tell you it's working, it's closed, whatever, and just you can track your complaint that way. As Mayor mentioned, Gateway Park is ongoing. We expect to bid that out toward the end of this month. Hoyt, we're expecting completion this week or early next week, just depending on weather. That was from EMB's doing the paving on that, so I know that's been a long time closure. And just from the department, we're fully staffed for the first time since I've been here. We were both confused and happy by that. It's let us tackle a lot of things. We got a lot of great folks that work for us. There's 24 employees in the public works staff, and we do everything: mowing, signals, minor utility work, electrical work for public buildings. We pave the roads, we fix potholes, we take trees down when they fall down from windstorms. There's not a whole lot that we don't somehow manage to find ourselves getting into. But the guys do a fantastic job. I think we're currently at about 48 hours for pothole notification to fix, assuming they use the portal. I will mention that Facebook is not the portal. If you put your complaint on Facebook, we don't see it. That's not what we do. So there's a portal. Please use it. We're quite pleased with the way it works. It's at the same report a problem place that it was previously. It is, Muncie website, report a problem. It'll take you right there.
dansholes.com. dansholes.com will also take you there. What is this dude doing? He is a contract employee. Why is he here? What's he doing? How does he discipline people underneath him? Who is he sending his shower pictures to? What's going on? Yada yada yada.
We do have our one-man patcher out and about. That's kind of a new technology to the city of Muncie. Aaron's doing a great job. That's super productive. Does a nice quality product. We're just kind of happy to have it going.
A potty break in the middle of Craig talking? I don't think so. I found the missing section. We'll watch it here in a minute.
We are kind of a fully functional public works entity now. We can, do all the things I would expect a public works.
I see what you did, Kate.
3 years ago, we could patch potholes. And
I see what you wrote.
We now have a boom arm mower, so
I might try to figure out a way to do that again.
Cut back for years, going on the other side of the railing until it's an overpass. Just the amount of stuff that we do that was not done 20, 30, 40, 50 years previous. It's kind of amazing. And when I meet with my foremen, who are kind of the team leaders for the guys, it's man, what else can we do? And I'm like, what kind of
Stumblefoot says they still haven't responded to my APRA request pertaining to what the monthly cost of providing security to the front door of City Hall. That's because the city of Muncie does not respond to record request, period, for some unknown reason. We're going to get to the bottom of that.
Kind of got to respect where we came from to where we're at now. So it's been a big improvement. We do have a new sign shop that was just recently built. So we'll do a little in-house grand opening for that. The sign shop's important because any of the custom signs, which are like your street markers, your road names, we usually see about a 6 to 8 week lead time. So by the time someone tells us that A, it's missing, and B, that we know what it is and we order it, it's 2 to 3 months. So we're going to try to get that cut down to a week or two just by making the signs ourselves.
Hey,
be a little bit more responsive there. Like I said, we've got great folks that do a great job. They're proud of their community. They're proud of fixing, things that we can fix. And, things get a little bit better every day, at least on the public works side. That's the best we can do. It's continuous improvement. McGalliard East will be going out to bid, McGalliard West, which is Wheeling to Tillotson, will go out to bid this year in November. McGalliard East will hopefully be going out to bid next year. That's the big one. In a perfect world, I would have enough money to pay the match on all these projects, but we do not. Just the match on McGalliard East is probably going to be about $1.2 to $1.3 million. Our entire budget's 4.5, so we kind of have to sadly pick and choose the opportunities we choose to take. But we're getting there. That's the best I can say.
All right. Good afternoon, Dan Burford, Chief of Muncie Fire Department. Been a pretty busy year for the fire department. We're at 10,000 calls right now for the year, which is just slightly over where we were last year, but it's been a pretty hot summer, and so we expect things like that. We are at full staff for the first time since 2019, I believe. We did put a recruit class on of 22 recruits back in June. They're in their 13-week academy right now, so we can't utilize them, as firefighters and EMTs on the road at the moment. But at the end of their 13 weeks, they will come out. They will have hazmat awareness and operations. They will have their firefighter 1 and 2 certifications, their EVOC certifications, and their EMT certifications. So when they do come to the fore, they'll be full working members of the department. We'll be able to utilize them, which will be a big relief on our department as far as overtime with the guys and just keeping our staffing up where it needs to be. So that's pretty exciting for us.
Great.
We received a radio grant last year, and we just got notification this morning that our equipment is in. That was $412,000 Assistance to Firefighters grant, federal grant. We do have to match 10% of that, but to be able to receive that much equipment for $41,000 is phenomenal. It was something we had built in on our budget last year that was there that we're using again this year to pay for that. So that's a huge plus for us.
Awesome.
We did receive 2 new engines, one late last year, one early this year that got in service, and that has been a blessing for us as far as upkeep on the equipment. Deputy Chief Nine has been doing an amazing job getting the remainder of the fleet working closely with the sanitary garage up into the best operational condition that it can. And so we're in a really good place there at the moment. So we do have a new fire station that we hope to break ground on soon. We've been working with the architects.
All right, let's hear about
it. Finalize all the designs. We had a rendering, and we had a floor plan that we had to work once things were approved to put it all together and really get the ball rolling. So we have a couple interior design meetings left and a few mechanical things to go through, and then hopefully we will break ground on that soon. That new station will be at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Highland Avenue. All the site work's done there, everything's great, and we're really pleased with that. Great location, great for the community, great for the neighborhood, and also better for us. We had some additional flooding issues in the last year with the station where it is, and getting it up on that hill will prevent the potential for anything happening in that, in the future. So we're really excited about that as well.
How much money do you think that's going to cost? I think it's going to be over the $9 million. I think it'll be over $9 million. We'll have to wait and see.
Richard Ivy, Deputy Mayor. I do everything that the mayor doesn't do. No, on a serious note,
what?
I am responsible for renewals of insurance companies. That's health and medical, and also workman's comp.
Excited about that as well.
Richard Ivy, Deputy Mayor. I do everything that the mayor doesn't do. No, on a serious note, I am responsible for renewals of insurance companies. That's health and medical, and also workman's comp and PNC. I help negotiate those with a team, a member from the Controller's Office, generally Craig, but sometimes Matt sits in as well, and Melanie Atlantic from the Sanitary District Insurance Department. We're in the middle of those negotiations and renewal periods right now, and things are moving along well. At least I want the mayor to know that. I support all these departments. Sometimes they can't be places they need to be because of their core responsibilities. So I pick up where they can need some assistance, and that's gathering information, meeting with folks, and getting out on the road sometimes, and recognizing the importance of quickly remedying something, or that it can fit into the general scheduling. One thing I spend a lot of time on is the Muncie Industrial Revolving Loan Fund. It's a fund that Muncie developed years ago. I want to say it was 1999. Somewhere around that time frame, and we were afforded some federal dollars to assist businesses with funding when they can't get traditional loans through banking for whatever reason. They just missed the mark on that. We're able to reconsider through that program and loan them monies to start entrepreneurial businesses, improve businesses, and add employees or equipment, things of that nature. Over the last 3 years, we've have loaned out over $1.5 million, half of which went to businesses owned or operated by women and minorities. So I'm very proud of that. Another focus of mine for about the last 18 months has been the Brownfield Committee that I will help organize. We get together to clean up properties that may have some cleaning issues as far as contaminants or other issues like gas tanks that were left over from gas stations and things of that nature. We clean those properties up and revitalize them for economic opportunities within those neighborhoods. Our grant was focused on neighborhoods such as Whiteley, Industry, and McKinley, and we've been working with those neighborhoods since the onset. And actually, people from those neighborhoods participate on our committee directly. One other city employee participates on that, and that's Gretchen Cheeseman from Community Development.
I bet she's happy with that.
I actually manage some of our city properties as well. The ones that are in transition to the developers that receive tax credits from the state. I maintain the properties until we actually come to the point where we can transfer the properties, and they take on that responsibility after that. Muncie Action Plan. I serve on an advisory committee for ACDC. I go to several neighborhood associations and help them with development of their ideals before we bring a full package of what they want to see in their neighborhoods, and support that vision and share it with the mayor and the Parks Department when it involves the park situation in that certain neighborhood. DCPC.
Okay, great.
Steve Selvey, Building Commissioner, City of Muncie. I have the pleasure of following up after Richard Ivy, so I'll be refreshingly boring. Building Commissioner, we started off this year pretty boldly. We had a pretty big enforcement action at the Muncie Inn, and then we move into the mowing season. We got off to a slow start. We had trouble hiring people. It was something that we typically do have our challenges, but this year it was, for whatever reason, it was very difficult to get our crew established. But we are up and running now. We have 2 crews running. We're making up the difference, and I hope we have the permitting and oversight of construction. We are still fairly robust in with those activities. Muncie
Keep in mind,
slowing down yet.
Dan hasn't said anything in a minute.
Down the pike, the mayor talked about the new housing, and Ball State's wrapping up a large job. I was just out today with Robert Jesse, looking at a new hotel going in on Bethel. So we stay busy with that. We're also it's fun. We get to partner. We work on occasion with the police department. I got to go out with Chief Burford and James Honlick, the historical representative, and look at the possibilities of doing something really neat with the fire department. I get to look at a building with Adam Leach. He just talked about the new sign shop. I got to watch him work from the owner's perspective, running a punch list with the architect, and I got to issue the certificate of occupancy. So we get to coordinate with him. My friend to the left, Troy, we haven't hooked up yet, but we become, I like him. We bounce ideas off each other, and that's really neat. So we're at the intersection of a lot of different things, and we continue to stay diligent on our codes. I don't have exact staffs, but Courtney Walker, the Unsafe Building Hearing Authority Coordinator, has about a revolving portfolio of about 600 houses in various states of that require her attention. I believe our department has let 25 demolitions. We just did 5 last week. We just put another package out of 10. Instead of putting out one large package of 30 and 40, we find we can be more responsive and more efficient doing roughly 10 demos 4 times a year. And it allows us to stay
that's interesting,
more current and relevant, and be more attuned to what really needs to come down. So
that's,
I know a lot of people call and they have problems with houses. The problem
40 houses in Muncie they tear down a year.
Take down the ones that really need to come down, that pose the greatest code enforcement officers with the sanitary district that I get to work with, and it's great. We partner up. It leverages our resources, and it gives us just yet another set of eyes. And they're in trash, and we were kind of in the same thing, so we work together nicely. I got to talk to Sasha Griffith today, so I kind of get to work with just about every department. So it's kind of fun, and it's challenging, and we try very hard. So I'm going to pass this on to my friend Troy,
Troy Waters,
taken down either in-house or with the help of the Parks Department, Urban Forestry.
Okay, and this guy is
right now it's been at no cost other than gas.
Beach Grove guy. So
Board of Trustees,
you're just
mayor,
dying
city
to hear
council.
what he's got to
Basically,
say.
everybody sitting up here has helped me since I've been there the last 2 years.
Okay, great.
Any problems, and I tell everybody, whether it's good or bad, even if it's toward me, come to a board meeting. Beach Grove Cemetery's board meetings are every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. And
public.
We'll have programs on. They also put them on there. Go through. It should be an hour or 2 training.
4%.
Oh, here we are.
Open it up to questions. The first one is, Steve had mentioned that the building permits are holding steady. Let me tell you something. They seem to be holding a little bit better than steady. So the numbers in 2023, through the first 6 months, there were 159 building permits. This is new construction of some type. In 2024, this year, that's 197. So that's up 24%. So I'd say that's a little bit better than, so he was being very modest. So that's one, and nobody told me to say that. I just wanted to indicate that you guys you're
nobody
killing it
told
and
me to
just
say
really
that.
dropping,
I just wanted to
some
do
big
it.
numbers, and I often wonder how you're able to do it. But I wanted to just touch base on the timing of the crisis center. So the crisis center exterior is essentially done. They're working inside, getting it all put together. There were some tours recently with the IT department at Meridian that's putting in the internal technologies that are necessary to provide the health services that will be there, and the addiction and the crisis, so just all those services. They are in the process of hiring their team that will be working at this particular center. And as any of you who ever do any hiring understand that there were some tours.
Listen, when he does this, Dan's got to tell when he lies, when he goes, okay, so the crisis center, there listen for him to do that. Listen.
Recently with the IT department at Meridian that's putting in the internal technologies that are necessary to provide the health services that will be there, and the addiction and the crisis, so just all those services. They are in the process of hiring their team that will be working at this particular center. And as any of you who ever do any hiring understand, that can sometimes take a long time. But we are, I think we have a final meeting in August. So sometime after August, we expect that we can give some firm dates and times of when the crisis center will open. I want to know plenty of work.
Whoa. I thought he was going to say sometime after August it'll be open. He said sometime after August, we will be able to give you like some firm dates of when it'll be open. This guy's a joker, man. An absolute joker.
Work is going on inside. They're doing IT and technology work inside right now. They are doing the hiring because they staff it, not the city. But we're real excited about what the crisis center means to our community. It's where we have space inside there for our 2 social workers for the police department, just to give you an example. And Chief Sloan talked about the different services that those social workers have already been doing just in the short time they've been here. So we're excited to have that as an opportunity and kind of a hub on how to help people who are in addiction challenges and or mental health issues. The purpose of the crisis center is to get people out of crisis so they don't hurt themselves and they don't hurt others. And that's what our goal is. And we're real excited that this is getting close. So we'll know more in August if they have their team assembled to run it, and we will let people know as we know. But now we'll go to Michelle and you can see what questions there might be.
All right, we did not have very many comments come through online unless there have been several in the last 30 seconds. So if you're here in person and have a question, please indicate that you have a question so I can get to you. One of the questions we did have was about the new Facebook page. We're trying something new. Hopefully it works out. Thank you for your patience as we figured out live streaming issues this week, but I think we have it running. And the same information is on the communications page as the regular City of Muncie page. But thank you, our department heads, for coming out and giving an update today. Thank you, Delaware County Fairgrounds, for hosting us. Thank you, John Beatty and Mark Slosher, for running our technology today, and we will see you next time.
That's it. That's it. That's the dream, the whole dream, the whole dream. That's dream, the whole dream, the whole dream. It's all dead. All right, here, I want you to listen to this real quick before I cut into the commentary. All right, here's what we had with this dude. All right, listen.
We just finished the halfway through the year on the budgeting process as far as where we're at. We do have a balanced budget, and we are looking to stay.
Muncie Cross.
Okay, right there's where it crapped out. All right. Now, if we pull off of this and we come over here and we listen to them on the other side, this is the dream with Dan. Now we'll actually get to hear what his full statement was.
And we are looking to stay that way through the remainder of the year. I expect the good results that we've had the last few years with all the department heads staying within their budgets. With that, that's really about it. I will say that, feel free to reach out to anybody in our department if you need any help with any questions or have any issues. But we appreciate all the hard work that all the department heads have done getting their claims in our department on a weekly basis and adhering to their budgets.
All right. That's what we missed there. So the other thing I want to show you guys, this is very important. I want you to see here, there are no comments right here. All right. I want you to look. There are no comments here. No comments. No comments, no comments, no comments. All right. When we click back over to the other side, all right, there are, I'm going to show you this one too. Okay. There are no comments, no comments, no comments, no comments here either. All right. Now I'm going to jump to the communications page on the Dream with Dan. And we're going to share this tab instead. And I'm going to show you here. Now we're back over here on the communications page. And here's the Dream with Dan. And it says we've got 10 comments. Okay, well, let's find out what these 10 comments are. Okay, this seems telling. 10 comments. We're going to go to all comments. Okay, so we've got Michelle Owen. She first says, comment questions here. Rob Miller says, we can't comment without exiting the video. Also, why have you here? How is this Facebook experience better for citizens? Okay. And then Aaron Kinsella, who I don't know how to describe that person, is just like a goody-goody. I don't know. Rob Miller, this article and their latest move for this communications community engagement alternative seems quite different. Thanks for asking this question. Okay. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know what she's trying to do there. So I hope that she's trying to say that it's not good. I don't know. We'll have to see. Jackie Fisher says, I have had difficulties with your page accepting my comments. I also made posts on today's live MRC feed. Your page would not accept the post. Okay. Troy says, you possibly could be blocked. LOL. And then Mallory says, that's illegal if so. Troy says, yes, I'm aware of that. It was a joke between her and I. Okay, great. Wonderful. And then Jackie is sharing citizens' comments. So then Troy gets on after the end of the feed, and Troy says, so it's okay now. They're all gone. Everyone can get on here and cry and whine again. So this is something that I've noticed that the Dan addicts have all been saying. They all say that no one in the community actually is willing to stand up and ask questions to the administration when the administration allows them to do so. To that, I say, no, no, no. You don't get to pick the time and the place and the how and the why and the context of what I ask. I have the First Amendment right to redress my government when, where, and how I choose. I do not need anyone to allow me anything when it comes to interacting with my government, a government, specifically my government. As Julie Johnson says, they work for us. I allow them to answer my questions. They're supposed to be meeting us where we are at, not vice versa. And that is what they're doing. And all of these Troy Tackett's and Corey Bory Finks and all of these people that run around thinking that Dan is doing God's work and being the best mayor he can be, it's absolutely nuts. You know, it's something that Troy's asked me several times since Dream with Dan. Well, why wasn't anybody there to ask any questions? You know, nobody asking questions. They made it nearly impossible, man. They made it nearly impossible. And Dan is doing that on purpose. That, ladies and gentlemen, brings me back to the very beginning part of the show, where I talked to you about what was going on in that city communications post. And when I proved to them that they lied, the City of Muncie, whoever that is, listen, I continue to ask, who is communicating? They continue to obfuscate, hide, and get away from that. They don't want to tell me. So you know what? Dan gets the blame. If Michelle doesn't want to open her mouth and tell me, and if Shireen doesn't want to open her mouth and tell me, then it's Dan Ridenour. And Dan Ridenour gets the blame. So in my opinion, and until they prove me otherwise, Dan Ridenour is the person who got on there and answered Ryan New. When Ryan said, are these lots sold? Dan got on and Dan said, yes, all of the lots are sold. Dan lied. And Dan gets to wear that. Bottom line, if Shireen lied for him, Dan gets the blame. If Michelle lied for him, Dan gets the blame. So it might as well be Dan writing. I wish they would tell me who it is so I could redress the government and explain the issues, and I could take the problems to Dan. But since they won't, and since he doesn't force them, then it's him doing it, and the buck stops with Dan, period. With that, I want to explain to you some things that I heard this weekend. And this is very important, okay? This is very, very important. So on the weekend, this was last night, I heard from an individual, and as you know, I got to be careful how I say this. The individual says this. This is how the individual starts out. It's weird that the city and Dan Ridenour publicize the new units on State Road 32. Okay. I don't think it says, Tweety. I don't think that it tells me that. I think it purposefully, they're able to keep that hid somehow. So I want to show you this, because this is something that the city of Muncie's been pushing. Here's Dan and a bunch of city people around him breaking ground at the new apartments out on Kilgore. All right, listen. And this comes from at least a former Dan addict, somebody who supported the mayor. I don't think that support is still there. It's weird that the city and Dan publicized the new units on 32, the old end zone property, like they did something. They didn't. Lou Coulter, which is a name that Muncie people know. Lou Coulter has been waiting for this buyer for a while. The city did virtually nothing. Dan may not be stealing from the people with the corrupt agreements and or other nefarious ways and means, but he is not honest and upfront. This person goes on to say, after that hubbub about the playground and the store estates, this person then outside of that didn't want to post publicly. They went around that and they contacted Dan directly and they said, hey, what's the deal with the lots? Dan reached out to the person directly and said, all of the lots are sold. That's a lie. That is a lie. He did that prior to Thursday. Okay? This person says he tries to talk around people and talk around subjects. I trust him 0% now. That's big. I cannot tell you who this is, but I'm telling you, if Dan is losing people like I'm talking to here in this communication, Dan is in trouble. I go on and I say some things. This person goes on and says, people leave him once they start seeing behind the curtain. He's a charade that needs to surround himself with weak-minded people that follow and repeat his sound bites. Tackett, Wagley's, Fink, Goodpaster. He is so fragile, he needs those people to bump his ego. He removes himself from people who are real with him. people like you, meaning me, people like me, meaning the person writing this, have you noticed that? I was like, yeah. This person says, I liked Dan. I really liked him. But I also have to be real with people. I have to be real with people and about people. And if they can't handle that, then they got to go on down the road. People that used to support him have been dropping like flies. Department heads, people who were very actively supported him in the previous election, does not now. People who, like myself, passively supported him through word of mouth and actively supported him in other ways. We simply just don't anymore. This past election, I allowed him to put a sign in my yard. If that election were held today, I would not have his sign in my yard. That's big. That is really, really big. This person goes on to complain about some other projects like the baseball deal where he changed the name of the Francis Lafferty Field. He's doing things without being fully invested in knowing what he's doing. Dan doesn't know the history he's messing with. He goes on and says, the shit they have going on where the old end zone was going was not work by the city at all. The city had zero to do with that. Listen, the thing that is on the screen, the city had zero to do with. So if the city had zero to do with this, the Michaels Place fell through, the solar field fell through, the Southway Plaza fell through, the Crisis Center is a flop. Think about all those. Those are big ass projects, people. So after this conversation, I decided I was not going to just let Troy Tackett get away with being Troy Tackett. So I messaged Troy privately. I messaged him privately. And I said, dude, D.R. Horton has still not closed on Store Estates. I'm even hearing now, and I heard this weekend, that the walkthrough on Friday that was scheduled for Friday that we heard on the 18th, I heard that it did not go, that it got pushed off. Now, I've now heard two different things. I've heard that it did not go and it got pushed off, and I've heard that it did go. The thing is, the person who told me that it didn't go, they've told me things in the past, and they've always been true. The people that have told me that it did go are people that are Dan Ridenour and his cheerleaders. And because they've lied in the past, I can't take their word for it anymore. So I've said, I'm even hearing now that the walkthrough was set for yesterday, didn't go. That's the thing that Shireen was talking about in that meeting. And if it didn't happen, that's crazy. The bottom line is 0 of those lots were sold on Monday the 15th. And even if the walkthrough happened on Friday, the lots are still not sold today. Troy says the final walkthrough went on without a hitch at 11 a.m. Friday. All right, how does he know that? Does he know that because someone told him and it was a truthful tell? Or does he know that because someone lied to him and he's just regurgitating? Or did he make it up? Any number of those things are possible. But because he's so closely connected to Dan and the city and all of that, I now can't, it's like lie by association. I now can't take his word for it. I said, cool. I hope it did go off. If that's the case, the city lied on Monday, right? I need to hear you say it. At least we're on the same page now. Now there's a place to start from. He goes on to say building permits are in the process and Horton is just waiting on the city's part to be completed. Well, we'll come back to that. But even let's just say that's true. If that's true, whoever wrote on Monday, July 15th, 2024 was not truthful. Period. Troy goes on to say all the money is on deposit with Indiana Title. Again, how do you know that? Did someone tell you? Were they telling the truth? Were they lying? Are you telling the truth or are you lying? I don't know. So when I'm put in a situation where I don't know what's true and my options are believing Dan or not believing Dan, I am not going to believe Dan or his people. I said, fantastic. It's going to be great, but I need you to say that you know that they lied on Monday. This person says, just a process. Just a process. I said, right. But why would they not just say that? Why would the city of Muncie not say, we're just in the process. It's just a process. We're weeks out. We're months out. It's just a process. People would have ate that up. They would never have said anything more about it. It would have been done. But Dan went left when he should have went right. He went down when he should have went up. He always does that. It's ridiculous. The other thing is Dan is a big person that believes in faking it till you make it. And while that works in a lot of cases, it certainly does not work with me when it comes to local politics. Faking it until you make it is bullshit. Tackett says, I have no clue. I would have told the truth. I don't know if I believe that. I said, why turn people that like you off? Why would Dan do that? I just don't understand why they aren't more honest. Tackett goes on to say this, and this is what I need everyone to hear. Dan is not running again. So this is going to be a very different 4 years. What's that mean?
I don't know. I think it sounds like a threat.
It's absolutely. I mean, me too. Me too. And taking everything that's happened with Dan, I take it that way. He deleted me the day after the campaign. He blocked me the day after the campaign. Since about July of last year, so for a full year now, the campaign and the mayor, they are separate but equal, I guess. They're two different things, same people, same person, two different entities. The mayor and the campaign, they both stopped answering questions. They both stopped. I said, what do you mean it's going to be a different 4 years? I don't like the sound of that. You mean he's just not going to give a shit what people say or do? He's just not going to talk to us? He's just going to say, I don't need you, screw off? Troy says, you need to be worrying about Nora's run. I said, I'll get to Nora. I'm talking about Dan right now. I said, communication isn't important. Is that what this next 4 years is going to be different means? Transparency isn't something that he focuses on. Accountability, well, What accountability? Tackett says, and listen to me, I'm not burning Tackett. First of all, Tackett didn't tell me this in confidence. Second of all, he is a Politico, and this is apparently war. He says no, but Dan is already a 4-year proven mayor, so he has nothing to prove now. The people that support his administration know he can do the job, so he doesn't have as much pressure to prove it. So now he can just do the business at hand. I said, look, tell me if I'm wrong, but if Sarah Beach turned off the commenting of the City of Muncie under the way that Michelle or Wagley did under Dan during the Tyler administration, you know that you and I would be bitching about that. Just the same way that I am bitching about this, but yet you're nowhere to be found. Why is that? I then finally read, I was like letting it sink in. I said, man, I don't know about Dan being a proven mayor. That sounds nuts to me. Then he says something that doesn't really make sense. He says, yes, I would have been bitching, but they created a duplicate page to comment with the exact same content. Why? Who knows? But comments are still an option. I said, comments are harder now. This is bullshit. This is not what he ran on. I said, what is Dan proven in? He's a proven what? He's a proven 4-year mayor. What do you mean? I said, he's not done a damn thing he's promised. He did not improve communication, transparency, or accountability. He did not slow government down. He did not repair relationships with the county, and he did not hire the best people. Troy says this, and the reason I'm reading this to you, and the reason this is important, is because this is the mind of a Dan addict. What you're hearing here is what these people believe, and that's important to help fight this. No one had those questions for Dan. No one had any questions for him at the Dream with Dan. I was surprised. You're all bitching about this. I figured somebody would have stood up and had questions. They are making it impossible, man. Jackie Fisher is no slouch. She's not an idiot. She's been following politics for a long time now. She stays up with these people. She's not a liar. She's not as abrasive as I am. She gets along with all of these people. She's friendly. Shireen gets I'm sorry. Charlize gets along with them, is respectful. They're having the same damn problems I'm having. I go on and I said 50% of his projects have flopped, maybe more. I said, he's proven what? Hackett said he's proven that he isn't going to steal the city blind. I know. You're right, Charlize. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said, on the whole, 10 years from now, 10 years time from now, when Dan is long gone from the mayor's office, people will look at him as a C mayor, a level C, a grade C mayor. Maybe less, maybe worse. maybe a C- or a D. He's not done everything wrong. He's done some things. But he's not a B mayor. He's definitely not an A mayor. Not at all. He is a C-level mayor. Tackett says better than an F-, which is what Dennis Tyler was. When you are coming out of the administration we had, you can do whatever you want. I said, no. No. He said, that is all that people cared about. They weren't looking for anything spectacular. They were just looking for someone to not be Dennis Tyler. No.
That's not a good commentary.
I know.
He's better than the guy that went to jail.
I know. I know. I'm like, that's...
Jimmy Carter was a great president. Because he wasn't Nixon.
Yeah, right.
What
right.
are you talking about?
Right. 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 I have that argument with my grandma all the time. She's like, Carter was a good president. I say, no, he was a horrible president. He was a good person. I finally got her to admit that today. She agreed. He's a good person. And she kind of conflates the two. Sometimes being a good person can make you a good elected official, but not always. Sometimes you can have the best heart and the best intentions, and you can just be completely off the wall stupid. Carter might have been a good man. Yeah, you know. I said, if that is the statement, if that's the statement we're going with, that Dan is only better than Tyler because he didn't take 5K, then that's fine, but that needs to be said. He said it wasn't just 5K. It's his total life in government. It's the cumulative of his entire administration. I said, right. And I bitched at him during those years. I said, but honestly, even with that theft that you believe that was going on, he did a lot of good work for the city of Muncie. I said, listen, he told me at that point that he needed to go and we'll talk again in the future. I'm like, sure, right. I said, listen, I'm glad that we know that they lied last Monday about Horton. We always have to keep in our minds, if they're willing to lie about stupid shit and this small shit, what are they willing to do when it is important and big stuff? What are they willing to do then? And that's the question. That is the whole of it. The bottom line is, we're hearing here, Dan ran, he won, and he's done. I don't even know that yet. I'm getting conflicting reports that he might run again. I don't know where I stand on that yet or not. And I'll be honest, and I told Troy this. Nora, as what I've seen out of her so far, is different than what she was 4 years ago. She is and has been. If Nora continues in the same vein that she has been working in, I could see supporting her over Dan. I could see that. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. Maybe she becomes insane. Maybe she goes back to her old ways. Maybe I don't know. I got to think. I would really have to think about that. What I hope happens is we get a couple of good candidates on the Republican side and on the Democrat side. And no matter what happens, they take Dan out or they whatever. And that we get a good Libertarian or good Republican to win ahead of Dan or even Nora. I'm just saying, Troy Tackett, he's not like one of the higher up Dan addicts. He's not like having brunch and hanging out with him. He's just a soldier for Dan. But I am telling you guys, if this is what they all think, that's the problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Dream with Dan Part 2. I don't know what we're going to do to battle this. We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to fight it somehow. We're going to have to be able to push back. I don't want to vote for Nora over Dan. I don't want Dan to run again. I want to give him so much heat and pressure that he says, all right, I'm done. I need him to just relax a little bit and either do what he needs to do and start telling the truth and being open and being honest, or he needs to know that we're going to roll over him. And we need to roll over him. We need to. I did ask all of the city councilors about the meeting that's upcoming in August, what's going to happen during the live streaming. Rose Selvey got back to me. So far, none of the rest have responded. A couple of them were out. I am going to resend the email tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. I do want to let you know that it is obviously Sunday, July 21st, 2024. And I know I didn't do this on Friday. It was a special night. I didn't have it prepared. But tonight is the 202nd evening, 202nd day. The 202nd, 202 days with no correspondence from Muncie City Council at-large member Dale Basham. No response to my questions. No thumbs up, no thumbs down, no growls, no smoke signals, no carrier pigeons, no emails, phone calls, text messages, Facebook messengers, nothing. That is not acceptable. We should not accept it. I will not accept it. And especially when we have shit like this going on, I'm needing more than one counselor to reach out. Now, they have in the past. They've been pretty good about it. I might reformulate my question, make it a little easier for them to answer. But they need to stand up against this. And if they don't, and they won't, we need to. We need to. Charlize, you might be better. Who knows? Who the hell knows? You listen, you couldn't be any worse. All right, you guys, hit the YouTube stuff. You know what to do. Give us a like if you haven't already. Transactional relationship. I give you some content. You give me a thumbs up. And we do it all again tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Have a great start to the work week. God bless each and every one of you. And hey, if you're the praying sort, I'd ask you to do me a favor. Even if you're kind of at first against this, say a prayer for Joe Biden. Thank the Lord that he stepped down. Maybe pray that he decides to step down from the presidency too. Pray for our leaders, good and bad, people we like, we don't like, that's very important. Thank you all very much. God bless you guys. We will see you back here tomorrow, Monday, the 22nd, same Bilbrey time, same the Political Spotlight channel. We will be talking about everything that goes on tomorrow. Remember, there is a Madison County election board meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. There's a Delaware County recount committee meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. And then on Tuesday at 8:30, there's the recount. And at 9, there's the county council meeting. The county council meeting will be live streamed right here. And we will have video on the recount. And we will then discuss that Tuesday night. So you've got an idea for the next 2 shows at least. You guys take care. Have a good evening. And we will see you all back here tomorrow. Good night. Good night. You know,